Hi and welcome back to another edition of the Koi Perspective. I'm delighted to say that I've made it all the way down, 4-hour journey to Koi Water Barn. Come down to see Amir. He's just returned from Japan and he's due his shipment in a few weeks. He's just announced like a growing show competition with Dave from Eden Koi Pond, who you probably have seen on the Koi Perspective podcast, but we might see a few of those today as well. But I wanted to kind of do a little bit of just koi appreciation and do some like breakdowns on some fish, get some fish in some bowls, just have a talk about them, different varieties, what you look for when selecting fish, and just really a bit of a relaxing video with not many interviews, just kind of like speaking about some koi and the qualities and maybe some negatives about the fish and why we wouldn't select them, that kind of thing. And obviously all of these things will be reflected in price, but I just wanted to get some fish in a bowl and do some koi content for you guys for a bit of a change. So without further ado, we'll speak to Amir, see if we can get some of these out into a bowl and have a look at some. I'll leave him wait, he'll film my fucking pond, That's really nice.
Bear in mind, fish only, they've gotten quite light now where they've been in the bowl quite a while, and they're only going to get darker.
So we've just done Dave's growing show, so we're finished with that. So if you want to see some of that, we'll bleep that bit out.
Oh my god. What is this, like, sabotage?
So we're going to do some bowling and some fish here that you've got. I mean, you're going to get a shipment in soon, aren't you? So
yeah, we're getting 100 plus boxes on the 5th of March, so yeah, that's going to be a long night. I'm not excited, but excited at the same time.
There is still some good fish here, isn't there, for people?
There is some unbelievable fish. We keep on, you know, good stock all year round. So yeah, there is some absolute bargains to be had.
But I want to just get some like fish in a bowl and just talk about them. It's not about selling them. It's about, I mean, I want to do a bit of
just
appreciation.
A bit of opinion, yeah. Just a bit.
And you know, if people want them, they can get in touch with you. But I just wanted to pop down and, you know, you've got access to some Sakai pieces.
You'll be surprised how much fish have been missed.
Yeah.
How many fish get overlooked, and when you actually just take a bit of time to look at what's about, you'll be surprised how many fish have been overlooked and left. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting to go through. You've
got some of your staff here today as well. So you've got Charlie on the other side.
Charlie, he's the one doing our Facebook, so you might have noticed.
I'm on a celebrity.
Yeah. Good old Gary.
But yeah, we've got Gary on, so hopefully we'll do a bit of it, because you do a lot of like pond maintenance as well.
Pond maintenance and fish health, so I do all the call outs and the scrapes.
So
Gary's our in-house professional.
People can understand I'm the professional. I'm getting it on top.
So without further ado, before these guys all ruin the background of my video, we'll get some fish bowled and do a bit of appreciation. The perks of being manager, not having to do the socking.
Oh my god, you should have saw the first open event. It was my first month here.
Yeah.
And Tony was like, oh, let's do this open event. Let's go through every single fish in the main pond on a day, and we'll make it a big event, and we'll get the whole public to come and watch. And I literally stood in that corner there, and I stood there the whole day for 5 hours straight, netting out these 80, 90 cm fish, just lifting them in and then lifting them back in, until we'd gone through all 70, 80 fish in the pond. And that was like...
back-breaking.
That was the longest day of my life.
Yeah, I bet. So although you do like a shipment of koi, there's still quite a few things in here,
well,
isn't there?
I've actually made 3 ponds into one.
Yeah.
So this pond had actually run, we'd had originally about maybe 80, 90 fish in here, which we'd sold until it'd gone down to about 20. And then it was the same case in these other 2 ponds, but if you notice, that one over there is empty. So what I've done is to free up the space in those 2 ponds, I've now put all the fish into here.
Yeah.
So now I can put the new stuff into that pond over there. So it's just a big game of Tetris, really.
Yeah.
You just got to keep like jigging stuff about and to make things fit.
I guess when Tony says you've got 100 boxes coming, you've got to find space, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, well, you just got to make it work.
Yeah.
Got to make it work. So, but luckily they're not all main pond fish. There are good. It's all for the curing
Yeah,
predominantly, but the bigger stuff I do like to get them straight into the larger ponds rather than move them about up and down.
Yeah.
So if I can make the space, I will make the space.
So this was a fish actually that caught my eye like straight away.
Yeah.
See it as
This
it
is
comes.
just unreal, this one. Absolutely unreal. Just everything about it has just done so well. And considering it's been indoors all year.
Yeah. That's one thing that people probably won't understand, is it? Having been indoors and how it can affect the skin.
Yes, it does go. The fish do go softer being indoors, but on this fish, it has not even followed the rules at all. It's just done its own thing.
Yeah, the skin is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like there's no sumi development needed, really.
Yeah.
You could take
It's
it.
all there.
Take it at what it is now. So this is Sakai, isn't it?
Yeah, Sakai. Tony selected this one not this October past, but the one beforehand, I think 23, and it'd come over in 24, beginning of 24, and yeah, it's been a beautiful fish in our ponds ever since, and it's just continued to, the sumi's just continued to slowly develop, and it's now these nice little blotches of ink black sumi on the body, scattered over the body.
Really nice head shape actually, and head colour as well. You know, from the head tone to like the body, the white skin. Like sometimes
Yes.
you can see different like tones on the white on the shiroji.
Yes, and the skin quality on the head and body, as you're saying, it's very even as it joins. So very good skin from the nose to the end of the tail.
Yeah, really awesome.
Yes.
It's almost a fish that you could put straight away into a koi show.
Yes,
I mean,
actually, this is the main reason Tony did select this one. He did get this one as a bit of a show fish potential, and it was definitely one of his Sakai's better males for sale when he did get it a year and a half ago. So yeah, so that was a really special fish, that one, and we didn't get many.
Yeah.
But with the males, it does provide an opportunity of getting a lot of quality for your money, and that's why this one does pop out so much.
But I think it's when you've got like a crazy sumi pattern on a Sankei like this, I think one of the main things is you need almost like tejime and the pecs and the fins.
Yes,
like
to balance it.
To balance it,
Yes.
like it's almost like an old school Sankei in that respect.
Yeah,
So
I would say this is a very traditional style.
Yeah.
Because this sort of scattered sumi is a more traditional, old school style Sankei, whereas
Yeah.
a lot of modern Sankei now have what I would call a very minimalistic type
Yeah,
of sumi. So they've
yeah.
got big blocks of sumi,
Yeah.
but in a very
Minimalistic.
in a very minimalistic fashion. So
Yeah.
yeah, so this has definitely got that old school scattered type, but it's very striking.
Yeah.
You've got the tajima in the fins and the tajima in the tail.
Yeah, it's just an awesome effect.
And in the dorsal, so yeah, it really all round really pops, this fish, really pops.
Awesome. And this is Sansai?
Yeah, now Sansai. So it came in as Nisai, and now Sansai in its third year.
Really cool.
Yeah, and a very unique head pattern as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sakai has whipped out a few that have that sort of, we nickname it the finger, this one. So it does just look like a finger pointing.
Not well. It could be
Yeah.
your index or middle finger as well. To be fair,
Give it another nickname, but we're not going to say
but
it
yeah,
on
no,
video,
it's, yeah, I get what you mean. It's
Yeah.
it's awesome little head pattern. Yeah, but the depth of Benny for, like you said, for being indoors where it's not got a lot of natural light,
Yeah,
the skin's held up
It hasn't
extremely well, hasn't it?
hasn't suffered at all. It's
No.
it's just powered through.
Yeah.
It's just these like it hasn't. Yeah, it's very nice.
Awesome.
Some fish just got it, and this one definitely has.
But this is a male fish as well, which
Male,
you
male.
can't really tell from like the skin or shape of it.
Yeah, the
Particular.
quality and the skin and even the body structure itself is very good.
Yeah.
So although it's been indoors and we don't feed that heavy, it has got a very good deep structure, and
Yeah.
being Sakai, it would bulk out very nicely, and the structure would carry it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely a fish that's very good and a lot of future potential as well in a pond where it's maybe being fed fed more intensely.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Charlie? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, this is actually one of my personal favourites. As Amir said, and yourself, the Benny quality is superb. It really punches through the skin. And yeah, quite heavy sumi, but it's very stylish. It complements the fish very nicely.
Yeah.
And again, with the tejima, yeah, very stylish, and it suits the fish, but always stands out in the pond. Nice punchy colours and very balanced Benny pattern as well. So yeah, I'm very keen on this one.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I love this kind of like Marizome Kiwa on the back edge here.
Yes,
Like
very clean.
yeah, almost like the fish scale pattern. It's awesome. Just on the back edge of the Benny there. Really cool.
Yeah, definitely a lot to it.
Yeah, so hopefully it finds a nice home for a koi show environment, because it's just ready for that, isn't it?
It needs that justice.
Yeah.
It needs that justice. It
Yeah.
needs to be shown. It needs to be seen. So yeah, that would be amazing fish. That
Yeah,
one.
it's a shame the lighting's a bit patchy here, but especially when you look at the skin quality of it,
Yeah, that's
it's just superb.
Yeah.
that was
Go
a
on,
really cool fish.
Yeah, go on. Let's have a look at. Let's see what else is worth having a little. So that's literally on the other end of a spectrum of a Sakai Sanke. So
Yeah, when we were talking about traditional versus
So-
modern style Sankei.
So this is very modern, polka dot, more simple pattern on the white. So all the sumi's on the white of the fish, which is very popular nowadays. And again, the body structure and the skin on this fish, it's actually one of my favourite little gems in this pond. So a lot of people do overlook this fish and look at all the bigger ones.
Yeah.
But do you know what? This is actually one that I'd go for myself and have a bit of fun growing it on.
How do you find that as like a koi dealer? It's like sometimes you can see a fish that you think like is a no-brainer.
Well,
But your
sometimes-
customers are going for other things.
The thing is, at the end of the day, like a customer or a hobbyist is going to get what they like, and that is what is most important.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes I do bowl up a couple fish,
Wow.
and like everything we do sell, you know, is nice. So, but sometimes I do bowl up a couple, and there is just one that does stand out by a miles, and sometimes, you know, what the customer likes is just is the other fish, and that's what it is sometimes. But
So what's the
I always look at potential with koi. I don't look at what's necessarily in front of me now. I look at where it could be in a year or two.
yeah.
Because if you get a finished fish, you know, you're sort of, that's it. You know what you're getting, so it is a safe bet. But it might not necessarily ever become greater in pattern or potential, apart from maybe just growing the body. But this one here for me, I think it's got a very nice distribution of Benny, and I think this would actually be quite a nice little show style fish as well, because it's got all the merits going for it. It's got a good head pattern. It's got a nice clean white cut dorsal down the back.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely distribution of Benny down the body. It's got a nice tail stop, and the cherry on the cake, it's got a nice bit of shoulder sumi, nice bit of kata sumi forming.
Yeah, it's not quite as finished as the other one, is it?
Yeah,
In terms
but-
of the other one, you're looking at fish at almost like two different levels of
Yes,
development,
yes.
aren't you?
So the other one was very, very scattered and a lot more finished, and to a lot of people would look a lot more striking
Yeah.
and pop out to them first. But this one for me, although might not have that same pop out factor, when you actually appreciate the merits of it, actually carries far more merits.
Yeah.
And what most people wouldn't have seen is what this fish was landed, because when this
Yeah.
fish landed in the UK, it was actually closer to a kahaku than a sanke.
Really?
So looking at it now, someone might go, would the sumi come? But me knowing what it landed at to what it is now, and how it's sort of projecting, I can see the sumi, how far it's come in this, 6-8 months it's been here. All this sumi has come out of nowhere. So
It's more of a matter of time rather
it's just a
than-
matter of time. Yeah, it's already come 70% of the way, and I've seen it with my own eyes over the last year. So for those last few months, for the sumi to finish, I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to finish very well.
Yeah, I really like this one. I mean, you can see almost like I always find it interesting to see that almost like the beni forces the sumi up faster.
Yes.
You know, and this is like a typical example of that, where you can see it's finished on the beni.
Yes.
It's up on the top.
It's
of
a
the
lot
skin.
easier for the sumi to finish on the beni
Yeah.
rather than the sumi finishing on the shiroji.
Yeah.
But when you get sumi that is finishing on the shiroji and is still pushing through the skin, you know that it's going to be good sumi by the time it comes up. And again, this being a Sakai fish, it's sort of it's delivering, and it will deliver.
Yeah. Awesome. And you can actually see almost like the start of tejime in both fins as well. That one on
Yes.
the leading ray.
Yeah.
And you can see it just in the other. It's coming. It's on the way.
Yeah, when it's sumi and Sakai, like what I found in our water, especially in our main pond, if I put anything that needs a bit more sumi to come up, it does always come up. So
Yeah.
that's something very interesting, which I haven't always seen with all breeders and all varieties, but on Sakai Sankes,
Yeah.
if you're wondering if sumi's going to come, they usually comes.
Out of the two fish that we've just seen, then, is this one less or more expensive than the other one?
This one is actually I believe about a third of the price.
Really?
Yeah, but obviously the other one was finished, and when we had bought it in Japan,
Yeah.
the breeder
price.
charges for what it is, not what it might be.
Yeah.
Now, what that other fish is a lot more finished, a lot more striking fish, and
It's a guarantee, isn't it?
it's a guarantee. You know what you're getting with that fish, and it's a bigger fish as well, might I add. So,
Yeah.
whereas this one here, at the time, looking like a kahaku, the breeder can't charge you for what it might be.
Yes. Yeah.
Us knowing that Sakai is the best in the world, and how the sumi does in our water, it's a no-brainer. We still buy any fish that Sakai offers us.
Yeah.
Because by the time it comes in our water and settles, they all
It's
end
changed.
up. Yeah, they all end up doing what we would hope.
Would you agree with, like, my opinion is that this probably, or could have, almost like a higher ceiling than the one we just
Yes.
seen before?
Yes.
You know, in terms of its potential.
See, that could be put up for debate, but in my opinion, my personal opinion, I really like the structure on this fish, and I really
Yeah.
like the Tsubo sumi on this fish, and I really like the pattern. So, as far as a modern Sankey goes, as this fish finishes,
Yeah.
this could have, I think, a further potential in its future. Now, the one we'd seen previously is finished and got a very unique head pattern and a very unique sumi pattern,
Yeah.
and it's nice in a different sense of appreciation, because again, the two fish are different styles to begin with. One is a
Yeah.
modern style Sankey and one's a traditional style Sankey. So
Yeah.
it's very
Very
hard
different.
it's very hard to compare them
Yeah.
straight to be like, in a linear way to begin with.
What do you reckon, Charlie? What's your kind of like preference between the two?
Yeah, well, as you were saying, they're both completely different styles of Sankey, so it's hard to compare them both, but, different styles will appeal to different people.
Yeah.
This one, of course, yeah, as Amir said, lovely Tsubo sumi, and actually, again, lovely Marisomi Kiwa down the side
Yeah.
here. Nice clean scalloping on the scales. So
Yeah.
it's developed very nicely whilst with us, and I think that is key when you're picking a fish, especially for a show. Like Amir said, he's seeing the potential and what it could be in the future. But yeah, the sumi always develops very nicely in our water, so this one's come along perfectly, and would definitely make a nice addition for someone.
Yeah, really cool. Awesome.
Yeah, go on, let's have a look at something else. I'll show it there, that's our last Sakai Showa. Yeah. What do you think of that, Joe?
Yeah, interesting, yeah. Anything Sakai Showa wise is unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're not known for it.
Yes.
Did you see many this time when you went?
None.
None?
Not a single one. Not a
Interesting.
single one. Didn't see
Very
any.
nice as well.
And that one, again, when it landed, everyone overlooked it because it looked like Kahaku-like, and it had no sumi, no nothing. And it's funny, it's almost like people lose faith buying a fish
Yeah.
with potential,
Yeah.
but when it's Sakai, they pull through. They
Yeah.
actually pull through, and they actually surprise you. So
Yeah.
it's like by the time people get to getting fish with potential, by the time they've failed with so many, they sort of give up. But with Sakai, they don't fail. I haven't seen one let me down since I've started work here. So, right. So this one
It's
again.
really cool, isn't it?
Like this one again, it's ticking all the right boxes. The Benny pattern underneath starts at the head and ends at the tail. It's got a nice distribution of Benny all the way down the body. So as you see, it's got a nice tail stop and it's got a nice head pattern. So straight away, you've got a nice balance of Benny all the way down the body. For me, the second most important thing is obviously body always comes first, and then the Benny pattern. It's got a nice clean cut white dorsal. That's very, very important for me on all Go Sanke.
Yeah, I feel like if you have a black dorsal, it just doesn't split the fish symmetrically, does it?
It's on Showa you can have the black come in, but it's mainly the Benny. If you get the Benny bleeding on the dorsal on any Go Sanke, that is for me is quite distracting because as your eye leads down the fish, if you have Benny all over the dorsal and all over the tails and fins, it does distract you from the pattern. And the thing about the Benny pattern, it is meant to lead your eye from the beginning of the fish to the end of the fish. So any distractions along the way is considered not to be part of the main pattern.
I would say the same with this fish as you know with the first Sanke we'd seen, where almost like the sumi is pushed up by the Benny. You know the finished bits of sumi are where it's on Benny.
Usually 90% of the time the sumi on the Benny will always be a bit more punchier than the sumi on the white. Yeah. But again, this fish, when it had landed, I don't think not a single person had asked me to bowl up this fish because it had just looked like a bit of maybe a kahaku with shimmies. Yeah. That's what most people prefer it to as when it had landed. And it was basically a Showa with a few smudgy bits of black. And and when people are looking for Showa, that's not what they're looking for. No. They want that black up and finish. So again, this was actually from the same batch as the Sanke I'd just previously shown you. So that was a bit of an underdog batch, I'd call it. Because this is the batch that a lot of people have overlooked, and 6 months down the line in our shop,
they've actually developed really
really well. And I'm actually very pleased with them. So again, this fish is developing sumi in all the right places.
Yeah, even the Motoguru on that left peck as well is coming.
It's all there. It's all there in all the right places. It just needs to finish. It just needs a bit more time, but it's already come 60-70% of the way in less than a year. So another year, this is going to be a very, very different looking fish. Maybe still here if no one sees the potential, or maybe in someone's pond where someone's nabbed it up. But definitely a mega fish, this one. So Sakai Showa. This one's actually, I believe, am I right in saying, Charlie, it's our last one?
Yes, I believe so.
That's our last one. So we had actually, Sakai Showa are actually been quite hard to get the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, they're not known for Showa, are they? So
and he doesn't have many available because his parent sets for the Showas are just nowhere near the mass parent sets he has for his Kahaku and Sanke. But the few that he does pop out are absolute bangers. So a couple years ago, he did have a few available, and I think we got about 5 or 6, and this was one of them. So we've got him in at 24, year 24, and now this is the one that everyone had looked over. So. But the funny thing is, now it's sort of started to develop. I'd actually say it's definitely would have been one of the nicer ones out of the 6. 100%. So
it looks female as well.
Yes, it's got a very good structure, head structure, fin structure. So So really again, cool. This one is actually.
You can just see there's so much to come. All the underlying sumi in all the right places, as Amir said, and especially if the Memoiri connects up here on the head, that'll look fantastic. Yeah. As you're saying, it's got the start of some Motoguru, which is good. But loads to come yet. And I think especially in a pond outside, the Benny will strengthen up hopefully, and you'll have a really nice balanced Showa there.
I know none of that was there before. 6 months ago, none of that, and all the sumi on the body at the upper bit was there, and all of this was white. So this looked like one massive big white patch. Where this is coming up now and it's filling that gap. It's just sort of finishing the pattern perfectly. Whereas before, I think most people just couldn't.
They didn't have the vision.
They didn't have the vision. People couldn't see the balance that was to come.
But on all the fish that we've seen, haven't we, that they've all had really good shiroji as well.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
you know, is that down to the food that you're feeding?
To
or?
be honest, it's down to the quality of the fish. It's, it wouldn't go in our main pond if it was anything less.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, it's literally it's Tony's skill in picking the fish as well in Japan. And when we do go picking them, we do pay quite close attention. But we have picked out only Sakai fish, and that's what you get when you get a Sakai fish.
Yeah.
You get that quality straight from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not making any compromises once you accept that you are getting a Sakai fish, but the compromise you might have to make is how much you might pay.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
You know, that's how the world works. You get what you pay for. So
yeah.
But with Sakai, you never get disappointed.
No.
So.
Your turn to fill it up now, yeah?
Go on, Charlie. You're such an expert.
Oh, of course.
Don't want to take your job. Yeah, go on, pass it. I'll do that for you. But it gets me to do everything.
Someone's got to be in charge, haven't they?
So where's this from? What breeder is this one?
This one's a special one, this one. Very renowned for Aragoke. And he produces some of the cleanest and biggest Aragoke in Japan.
If anyone watched my Hiroshima Koi show video, I think I captured one of his champion,
Yes.
Ginrin.
That's the same one. That's the same breeder, yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, that fish. I think he did well at the All Japan as well with Aragoke. Yeah,
He did very well. So definitely a very renowned breeder for the variety. And although a lot of breeders do produce Aragoke, not quite like this. The ones he produces they almost have a very clean look to them that I feel like you don't get sometimes. Sometimes you look at Aragoke and they just look really messy and scruffy, and usually they don't appeal to me, but the ones from Oyama, they're something different. They just have this cleanliness to them.
Yeah. It's almost like they've just slapdashed a variety together. It's like there's been thought behind the process.
Yeah, some actual selective breeding rather than just plucking out anything that's got a bit of funky scales to it.
But this, you kind of loosely described it as gunmetal. It's very apt, really, isn't it? Really awesome coloration.
The fins as well. Do you see the fins?
Yeah.
How they've got like this feather. Each spine looks like a feather down the fin.
It's like the metallic shine that they've got is crazy, isn't it?
And the body structure again, very nice, really nice body structure with a nice little hump. This one as well. This one has got a bit of a hump.
Yeah.
And it's got that lovely linear down each side that I know a lot of koi hobbyists / carp people do appreciate.
Oh yes, I speak for us all.
Look at that.
Really awesome.
Just such a clean zip linear on both sides.
Now this is just a beautiful example.
You see that colour? It's almost like a latte colour. I don't know what the word is for
it's very unusual.
Latte,
it's like it's just such a smooth, silky colour.
Yeah,
that's the bit to me, because you get them like all bronzy and gold and metallic looking, but they always got that darkness around the face and the darkness in the fins, and they got all that black scattering on the body. Like this one has got a very soft coloration and very smooth and silky.
So from like a dealer's point of view, you're in Japan and you're looking at the kind of ponds like this to buy from, with fish of this caliber. These fish are not cheap, are they?
They're not cheap, and they're niche. See, most traditional hobbyists that would like a normal go Sankei or maybe more traditional varieties might not necessarily. This might not appeal to them, and it definitely is a Marmite variety. But the way I appreciate koi is if it's a good example of what it is, it's a good example of what it is. So I just appreciate koi for what they are. So where I've dealt with so many varieties, I'm just I look at everything sort of quite neutrally now. But yeah, definitely, if you know what it is and you know how good it is for what it is, then you can appreciate what that fish is. So
everyone's got their taste, haven't they?
They have, yeah. So Charlie, this is one of your fish that you wanted to kind of boil. What's your what's your favourite feature about it?
Well, do you know what? Obviously, we see a lot of Go Sanke.
Yeah.
Loads.
Yeah.
And many Go Sanke. Many.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone loves a good Sanke or a good Kahaku. But when you see something different, and as Amir said, for what it is an extremely clean.
It's a superb example.
Exactly, it's a good example of what it is, and I think just the skin quality down the shoulders here, and
It's got such a luster.
the scales are so symmetrical on it. It's almost just perfect.
Yeah.
It's got the perfect, almost Shisui style scales down the back, and then this lovely zip linear pattern down each side. Just something a bit different.
Yeah,
but
I think it
stands
just
out.
kind of breaks the mold, doesn't it?
Exactly
And it's
that.
like, you know, you can get a bit Go Sanke blind, and I'm not just talking from like a dealer perspective. When you're out at your pond, you don't want to always see like the same colours, do you?
Exactly. You need something to break it up.
Yeah.
You need something to break
Yeah,
it
as
up.
we said, everyone has their tastes. You know, we've got
Yeah.
customers who have exclusively Go Sanke, and we've got customers who go, they're red and white.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a pond out there somewhere for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
With somebody who enjoys fishing as well.
Yes, yes. Nice zip linear.
Yeah. Awesome. That's really cool.
Right, this one is a proper different one. I can
Probably
almost,
unique.
I can almost hear the hate comments through before you uploaded the video.
Well, this is an appreciation.
Yeah, but this is definitely
Wow.
a Marmite one. This one is definitely one that.
I need to get a close.
Do you know
look at
what?
this one.
Again, you've just got to appreciate it for what it is, right? If you look at it through sort of basic goggles of a traditional Go Sanke, yeah, in that aspect, it's not a very good Sanke. But in the aspect of a Kanoko Sanke, it is an absolutely brilliant Kanoko Sanke.
It's a fantastic example of Kanoko.
And do you know what? Nice little nugget about this one. This is actually a Sakai fish, believe
Really?
it or not. So if Sakai could justify growing this fish to a very big Nisai,
Yeah.
Sakai himself must
seen
have saw.
something in it.
Yeah, and I actually found out something really interesting last time I was in Japan with Tony. Kentaro himself actually goes through every single fry. So,
Wow.
you know, it's had his eye look over that, and he's approved it. So that is an absolutely superb example
Yeah.
of a Kanoko Sanke.
It's not like half Kanoko either. Like all the scales along the top of the fish are
Yes.
full of beni.
Yes.
You know, they're not half full of beni.
Yes, it's
You
a
know-
proper pineapple pine cone
Yeah.
with the white fukurin in between, full red scales. And as a Sanke in itself, you can actually see the pattern of the Sanke.
Yeah.
And on where what would normally be the white part of the Sanke is where you're getting this Kanoko effect.
Yeah.
So
It's actually got like little tiny bits of Kadogen as well.
yeah, now
On the corner of the scales.
yes, and the funny thing is with this fish, I actually think, and a couple people that have come in, quite keen hobbyists that do go to the shows, this actually would be a fish that I think would do very well in a show. So
Yeah.
definitely, because it's so unique and so different, and
Well, for a Kanoko fish, it's remarkably
yeah,
clean.
I would
they're not-
definitely think that would get a special award in any show.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I don't look at Kanoko and think to myself like clean, but if
if
this
there- if
in a
there was-
Kanoko class, it is clean for a Kanoko.
Yes, where do you get such even Kanoko? I think
Yeah.
that's what you're referring
Yeah.
to, the evenness and the consistency.
And the Benny's not like weaker than the actual Benny plates either. You know,
Yes.
sometimes you can see
Different
that.
patches
Yeah,
of colour and
like, it's
blotchy. Now this fish is just,
It's just wild.
it's just wild, yeah.
So you actually bought this as a Kanoko then?
No, this was sold as a Kanoko. And funny
wasn't
enough, I
sold as a
believe
Sanke.
Narita actually had one of its siblings, which he had posted on his Facebook a few months ago. But he had the sibling, one of his siblings of these fish, and he had this Kanoko Sanke from Sakai as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was the sibling of this one, and we nabbed up this one. So, yeah, it is a variety that is sort of, or maybe not a variety, but
It's
a
another-
class of Sanke that is recognised.
Kind of
maybe.
similar to the Kin Kabuto though. It's like
Yeah, it's almost
very
like
unique, isn't it?
exactly, or it's almost like saying a kin showa.
Yeah.
It's a description of a type of showa.
Yeah.
So it's a Kanoko Sanke. So it is a Sakai Sanke, but it's a
Yeah.
Kanoko Sanke. So
Yeah. And in the classification for a koi show, it wouldn't be in Sankei, I believe.
No, that would be
Kawari mono,
Kawari,
yeah.
and then it would probably get like best in Kawari mono or
Yeah.
most unique or most
Yeah.
something. But that would I'm pretty sure a judge would not walk past that and
No.
not take notice. So
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Striking.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you know, a lot of the people that do sometimes turn their nose up at it are the sort of show people, but I think that, funny enough, that would actually do very well in a show.
Yeah.
So if you appreciate what that is,
Yeah.
you know what a nugget that is.
Yeah. Go on, Charlie. What do you-
Charlie's. Oh,
What do you reckon? You're allowed to say you don't like it if you don't like it.
Do you know what? Again, everyone's got their tastes, so it is a bit unique, something a bit different. But again, I think the quality of the shiroji on this one in particular, it pushes through the fukurin,
Yeah.
and it just accentuates the kanoko in such a nice way that you get this bright shiroji, and this, like you say, the beni is the same shade and depth as the plates.
Yeah.
So, you know, something very different.
It's not
Again,
a detriment to the rest of the qualities.
Not at all.
You know, and again, another fish with awesome shiroji. But we're just saying,
Yes.
like that if the shiroji was bad, it would look almost awful because you'd have like this yellow skin.
Yes,
with orange scales. It
Yeah.
wouldn't really look right.
It's very unique. I mean, personally, it's like, is it something because I can't imagine it's a cheap fish either.
Well, do you know what? Actually, I would say it would be on the closer end of being a cheap fish,
Yeah.
than a deer fish, because it is a bit of an obscure variety.
Yeah.
Where, you know, Sakai can't price it necessarily at a
Sankey
crazy-
price,
at
yeah.
a Sankey price, because to most people they wouldn't justify it, but a lot of people would take a punt on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, at a punt, what's a punt price opposed to a premium Sankey price?
Yeah,
so
very true.
This is definitely a fish that would be in a lot of hobbyists' budget if they are buying Nisai already. So
Yeah.
and it is got the Sakai name as well. So this isn't anything crazy at all.
And it'll
Definitely
grow.
not. And it hasn't been advertised on our website, and it hasn't been advertised on our Facebook. So this one is definitely a Koi perspective first peak exclusive.
I love it.
So Joe gets you the special access.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So this is definitely a fish. If you've seen it here on this video, this is the first time you.
It's also something you can't really buy online because
You
I think
can't.
no matter how good of a picture you took of it,
It
wouldn't
do it justice. Yeah,
and I
so
think you'd need to come and see it.
some fish I just don't even bother sometimes putting them online. It's better that in person you get that person walk in, see it, appreciate it, and then you talk about it with them. So
It's really cool though, really cool. I'll remember this fish, and if it shows up on the show scene in the next few years, it's not something I'm going to forget. I'll
there
know
you
where
go.
it
Well,
came
yeah,
from.
you've seen it first. You've
Yeah.
seen it first.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so you never know. So this is, but yeah, definitely this one is at no means at all, and it's not in our main pond or anything. So it's not our. It's definitely not on the higher end of the spectrum. It's on the lower end by all means. So yeah, it's a very, very nice value fish.
Yeah, price, yeah.
Price-wise, yeah. Quality-wise, definitely top end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's got the Sakai, but
It's
yeah.
kind of like we were talking about with the last one, you customers not seeing your vision when you see a fish early doors, but
Yes,
like
exactly.
with this one, it's kind of like you're happy to sit on it and wait for the right customer who sees the vision.
It's no point putting it up on the website trying to rush it. The thing is, once it's gone, we can't get another one.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd rather it go to the right person rather than just randomly sold. So it would be nice to see it in a show and see if we could get someone to take it. So
Awesome. Well, I've got one more in this pond I want to have a look at, and then I'll let you boys get back to.
There we go. We've all picked one each.
Yeah.
He's picked the Aragoke, I've picked the Kanoko, and Joe's now
picking the Tatigoi.
Picking the Tatigoi. Right, Joe's Tatigoi.
So, do you know which breeder this one's from? By any
This
chance?
is a Dainichi certificated, imported as a jumbo Tosai, now turning into Nisai. And the whole batch was, I would say, actually quite a really lovely batch. We had one of the biggest batches of jumbo Tosai in last year, by far, and one of the biggest selections of Dainichi in the UK. And the whole batch, pretty much just grew and developed and got better.
Yeah,
And this one here has definitely got quite a quirky Benny pattern. Loads of sumi underlying. This one is just a question of will it come?
Yeah.
Will it come? So
From my point of view, like absolutely. I almost kind of feel like with Dainichi Showa in particular, like I've seen a lot of examples posted on social media where Dainichi himself is like posting them as transitioning from toe side.
Yeah, as a toe side, most people overlook it because there's no sumi, and then boom, all of a sudden it's 4 or 5 years old, the sumi's up, and everyone's like, oh, I would have had that.
Yeah.
I wish I got it. I wish I just had a bit of vision.
And I feel like this one, I kind of look at it and just go.
You can imagine that photo in 4 years' time.
100%.
Yeah. See, sometimes that's what you got to do with Koi, because if it was that photo in 4 years' time, what sticker would it have on it? So if you could just have a little bit of vision and a little bit of imagination of where that fish will go.
Yeah.
You can really nab yourself up some really amazing deals sometimes, and have a bit of fun during the way. And I think for a lot of hobbyists, that's what they find the funnest bit of the hobby is.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's some really purist keepers, I would say, that, you know, can't bear imperfections, and then they do end up resorting into just buying a finished bigger fish. But I think for the majority of hobbyists,
I think from myself,
they do enjoy the process.
I can't afford to buy what I like at Sansai.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of most people are like that. Yeah, so
it's like,
you know,
I would prefer to take some gambles at this age.
Well,
what
exactly,
we're
and
seeing
have
now,
a bit of fun during the way.
And watch them develop. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think if people could afford what they wanted, it'd be a different situation.
See the memoir on the head coming through, like it's just sat under the skin on the head, trying to capture it. It's really difficult to show.
Yeah, definitely a good spot. Definitely a good spot.
It's just got enough Benny going for it.
Yes.
Like any less,
it'd
be really difficult to.
Yes, the funny thing is with some of the best Showa, when you take back that black, they haven't got that much Benny. They haven't got a Kahaku Benny pattern.
Yeah.
When you take the black off a Showa on some of the best Showas you see in the world, it's actually 90% of the pattern is the sumi.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's what a Showa is. It is a black-based koi. So
you don't need a Kahaku.
You don't with a Showa. Yeah, exactly. A Showa does not need a Kahaku pattern. A Showa should have a balance of Benny on each third of the body.
Yeah.
But by no means at all, it should have a Kahaku pattern. A Sankei, on the other hand, yes, it might have a Kahaku pattern with complementary sumi, but a Showa is all about that crazy wacky sumi all around the body, and then the Benny almost complements the sumi, so it's the polar opposite of a Sankei, because a lot of people always ask me what is the difference between a Sankei and a Showa, and the best way I describe it is a Sankei is a Kahaku with complementary sumi, and a Showa, you could almost imagine it like a Shiro with complementary Benny.
Yeah.
And for me, that's is
really
the closest
a good way
way
to describe it.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's the best way I found to describe it, because that is actually more accurately what the varieties are.
Bizarrely, like in my head, I've always thought about Showa as like a masculine pattern. I don't know why that is. It should be like imposing.
Yeah, because the black is more, I think, more imposing,
it's
more
like
striking.
imposing.
Yeah,
and
more
body shape for me on a Showa is really important as well.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Whereas a Sankei can have more of a delicate body shape and probably get away with it because it's like a delicate pattern, delicate body shape, whereas a Showa should be.
I think I know why you see it as masculine, because the Showa carry the weight at the shoulders, whereas Sankei carry the weight lower down.
Yeah.
So where there's such a shoulder-heavy fish, they almost look like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
A bodybuilder swimming around. So it does give you that more masculine, muscular feel when you do get a heavy-bodied, big-humped Showa, opposed to a nice, as you're saying, almost delicate-looking Sankei, where the beauty of the Sankei isn't that big, muscular, imposing, bold sumi. The beauty of a Sankei almost comes from the more delicate pattern and the more delicate, the intricacies and the more delicate shape of a Sankei. So I do kind of get what you mean in a funny way. Yeah,
I do honestly feel like though this fish could seriously develop into something you know, that would be 2-3 times more expensive if someone
Oh,
were to
yes.
take a gamble on something like this.
Yes, exactly.
You know, if
yeah.
the sumi comes up and like I think a lot of people might look at the head colour as, you know, in comparison to some of the things we looked at today, where the head colour's been more in keeping with like the body. But I
it's
also
a very
think
young fish.
It's a very young fish, and
the skin's there.
specifically on Dainichi fish, they seem to go that colour when the sumi's coming. I find.
Yes, funny you said that. I've noticed that as well. And usually they only tend to whiten up when they are at that bigger size.
Yeah.
But during their growth period, they don't seem to generally have that white shiroji, sorry. That maybe on Sakai, I do see them tend to carry that shiroji all the way through from Tosai to maybe Yonsai or older. But on Dainichi, as you've pointed out, yes, I have noticed on the younger fish, they tend to be a bit creamier, but as they get older, that white skin on the head does thicken up and whiten. So as they're developing and growing and getting that high protein food, they go through these many stages of the sumi coming up and down and the shiroji changing tones. But then when they finally get conditioned at a large size, boom, all of a sudden you're met with this unbelievable fish. And there you go, you've got that photo from 4 years in the future.
Yeah.
And you're like, there you go. Where's that come from?
Yeah.
And it's all come from just having a little bit of vision when it was a Tosai. And that's where the fun of the hobby is.
What do you reckon to this one, Charlie? Is it something you'd personally take a gamble on?
Well, I can certainly see why you've picked it out. It's got a really funky benny pattern, and there's just so much sumi to develop. And the lovely Motoguru there, you could just see it's going to more than likely have some really nice, strong sumi.
Yeah.
And the big set of shoulders that you were talking about as well, it just makes it really pop out. And I think, you know, fish like this do get overlooked sometimes because, going back to what we were saying earlier, they're not finished yet.
No.
But when you can envision what this could potentially turn into in the future, like I'm saying, Dainichi in particular are known for having these drastic changes, especially in regards to the sumi, that just set you up with the foundations for such a beautiful fish.
In my mind, it's almost like if somebody were... From a appreciation standpoint, it's got Motoguru, it's got the black in the gills as well. Like, it has got elements of sumi up as well. I mean, personally, I'm just not seeing anything that tells me that the rest of it's not going to come with time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just you're hoping that the head pattern doesn't remove all the benny. That is the gamble from my side, is that if the black comes up super strong on the head, you might be left with no benny on the head.
That's where you got to, again, take a bit of a gamble, but have an educated,
That's where the fun is.
an educated guess on. I mean, you can see just that little bit of sumi under the head where it will form the memoiri.
You can actually
Fingers
see
crossed.
it clearer in the shadow.
Yeah,
You see that underlying line.
You can see the grey, can't you?
You can see this
leading
grey
up to the nose.
That's going to connect from the nose to that black dot, and then from the black dot to the body. So there's a lightning stripe that's going to go through the head.
I'd love to see the picture. I mean, maybe we can get it sent to me so I can overlay it on the video. But I'd love to see what it was in Japan, because
Well, we've got the certificate.
Well, we've got the certificate, so that was
Yeah.
the photo. You really think you found the one that slipped through the net?
I might end up going home with this.
I think you're selling it to yourself at this point.
That's.
Joe's found the
This
one
video will never reach anywhere.
I did.
It'll be cut out.
I wanted to do a video just kind of like appreciating koi, and like for me, I spent a bit of time going around it, and this for me is the pick of the shop.
This was for you, the one.
I just kind of feel like this one has awesome potential. Like,
This is the gem in your eyes.
and like I say, for somebody out there that wants to learn about koi, I think
this is a great
example.
This is a great learning fish, because nothing is guaranteed. That the Menwari might not come and the Sydney might not come, but when you've got those genetics and that potential, how can you not take a punt? How can you not take a punt? So
really awesome.
So this is very varied, because you might have 2 of those with controllers, so that's £2 grand, all the way down to one of the cheap ones for 200. So there's literally.